podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me, as always, is Ben Slinger.
Hello.
And you just watched me win a game of Fortnite.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, and then we talked for a while. So what are we doing?
I don't know. I think a podcast.
Standard click pitch, or
I think a podcast. Yeah, look, let's just do some click pitch. Let's see where it leads us. Last week it led us down a grand MMO adventure where all the ideas ended up in one game. We don't necessarily need to do that again, but
no, because we don't know what else is in the game, because I don't remember. It feels like a whole week has gone by since we last talked about that.
Funny that. So yeah, let's just jump into it. We're going to play click pitch. It's a game where we each have a random word generator, in front of us, and on the count of 3, 2, 1, click. We're going to get a new word each and slam them together into some game sandwiches.
Mm.
The words we get are the bread, and our ideas are the meat.
Yeah, and it, depending on how long it goes for, depends on how rotten it gets, and then it gets thrown out in the.
That's right. If we only end up using one word, it's an open-faced game sandwich. You know, there's all sorts of things where places that metaphor could go. All right, 3, 2, 1, click.
Bypass.
Meter, but with a double E, so I assume one who meets.
Almost like a greeter or something like that for like a Walmart.
Yeah, I suppose so. Or is it someone who is it sort of a word for someone who sets people up on dates or something, like helps meet cutes happen? Ooh, that could be interesting.
Ooh, that could be. How do you bypass a meet cute and just get to marriage?
or it's just someone who just wants to meet someone in a normal way, and they keep having to like push people away. You know, oh, we ran into each other and dropped all our papers on the ground. Get away from me.
Okay, for some reason, my head is going to, because I've just seen like the new Final Destination film. I'm thinking of a Rube Goldberg sort of thing that happens to set up the meet cute. So it's like Final Destination without the murder.
I feel like we did a game years ago that was about like a time loop in like a diner or something. Something along that sort of line where you're repeating something to iterate on it and, like essentially set off the reactions for two people to meet each other.
If I remember rightly, that game was a breakup, and they kept on coming back together. I
don't remember what the goal of that game was, but I think in this case, like maybe you play time travelers or something who, you know that these two people have to meet for the future to change for the better or something. And all these things keep getting in the way. Okay.
I like that. I really like that. You're like the server at this restaurant.
Yep.
So you're the waiter/waitress, going over, filling up their coffee, sort of doing little things to keep them going. And when it doesn't work, you got to hit the big button out the back, and that resets.
And it resets it all. Yeah, I like that actually. You could play it almost as a bit of just like a heavily branching narrative, or something a bit like 12 minutes in that sense, where because you're in a limited space, you actually can potentially write out most of the sort of permutations of things and reactions to things that could happen. And you've got a few dialogue trees and stuff in there. And yes, that, okay, well, if I serve her, water when she asks for it, then she's going to get up to go to the bathroom in 2 minutes or whatever, but you can spill it on the way and then she doesn't, or, you can. Yeah. It's all about
if she gets up to go to the bathroom, she sees, what's written on the wall. And you don't have time to get in there to clean that off. And what's written on the wall is, her phone number or something like that.
I was going to say, it's like, call me for a good time. And she gets disgusted.
And she runs out and,
Yeah.
Because someone's done that to her.
But I like that because you could use it to explore the personalities and the histories of these people by having conversations with them in one time loop, with the goal then being eventually have essentially the perfect time loop for them to meet in a way that, you know, they will continue down the path you want them to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, you could, and how far you went, like, I'm picturing it in a 12 minutes-ish way, not the top-down only view, but more just like a third person or even a first person kind of.
I like a first person. There's something intimate about that. Like,
yeah. And so, you've obviously got different animations that play out in different things. But
and you've got different choices on whether you tip the food into their laps. And
yeah. But you could even, if, as a more, doable or like a game jam-ish sort of one, it could really just be like a visual novel sort of thing as well. Like just the heavy, with some heavy branching in there and just plan out all these different situations, which is cool. Did you ever play Slay the Princess?
Oh, no. What was that one about?
It's on my Steam. It's a really cool, essentially a visual novel, but it's got sort of a ton of different endings, and at the start of each run, essentially, you're outside of this cabin and you go in and you go down to the basement and there's this princess chained up there, and you kind of, I think, like, there's a voice in your head that's basically the narrator that tells you, like, you're the hero, you're there to kill this princess because it's actually a monster, but then there's just all these super heavily branched options.
Okay, cool. That sounds really good. I might need to
with
give
some
that
really cool
go.
art as well. Really cool art. Great illustrator who I originally saw on Penny Arcade's reality show they did for comic. I can't remember what it was even called now. Her name's Abby something. But yeah, no, she's really cool. Does really cool horror and like body horror comic art. It's great.
Nice. I need to check that out. So
definitely.
Okay, let's click again. Let's see what else the random gods are going to give us today.
Yeah. Because you want to click. Ascent.
Sender.
Sender?
Sender, as in return to sender.
Okay. Well, Ascent, this is obviously like ascending as opposed to give like with two S's.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like the idea of you having to climb something to send a message or something like you. This is a trek up a radio tower or up a mountain or whatever.
I do love the idea of it's kind of like Celeste, but you're delivering a message to like the hermit on top of the mountain.
Yeah, that's cool. Actually, what you just made me think of is having some sort of mechanic with the letter. Like a 2D side scroller, you can figure out what the sort of player controller would feel like, but in certain situations you can or you accidentally drop the letter and it's just got like a slow float down or whatever. But maybe grabbing it out of the air again gives you the extra jump or what, you could think of some different things there.
Yeah.
That could be cool. Or
you just got like the mailbag, over your shoulder and down by your side, but it's like the more you get hurt, the more
letters
tattered it gets.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
You've got literally one letter in it.
Yes, I think there's one letter. And yes, it falls out at certain times. Or you can drop it. Like maybe there's certain situations where you need to trigger something with it but you can't get through that room without taking it back, obviously, like that's your key item. So that could be really cool. Is there any sort of things around climbing as well that you could bring into I
just love the idea of, swinging a grappling hook up and, having to sort of
swinging your message back. That's your tool. You can just extend the strap.
For some reason, I've got this idea that like the hermit is like someone really, really important, like an old superhero or something like that. And they're now like living up there in solitude.
Yep.
You know,
that's cool.
they're somewhat retired, but it's like, no, you've got a letter from the president asking him to come back into duty.
Yeah, the whole game ends.
Someone
with
has to get
that
up.
Classic, one of those classic scenes of, we need you back. No, I'm retired. I'm never coming back. Then they all right, damn it, I'm in.
And then credits, and then it just shows like the rest of it is just showing the crazy shit that this guy does.
Yeah, the whole game was climbing the mountain to send in the letter. You don't get to play all the cool stuff he does. That's a different story. I'm just laughing at the idea that the final scene is like a close up of the classic like Arnie and whatever muscly fist handshake thing, hand grab meme,
and he crushes your hand. He crushes your hand and rips it off your arm.
I don't know. By the time you're up there, you'd be pretty beefy yourself. I guess he is a superhero. And then he just flies you down. It's like he could have come down to the bottom in 3 seconds.
He just flicks you off
to get this.
He just flicks you off the mountain. You just see him go cartwheeling through the sky
and just parachutes down with his messenger bag. I love that. 3 John Clegg.
Yeah.
Ooh, starvation.
Meat.
Okay.
That actual meat, not the first meat.
Yeah, that's good because that goes better with starvation.
Yeah. I mean, when you are starving, what exactly is meat? Like,
I mean,
meat gets different. Like, if you're really, really starving,
you're really hungry, anything's meat.
Anything's meat.
I mean, you could do
if you tear it off a body.
I'm just thinking because I'm thinking mechanically where the tension could come in of it's a party based whatever, and you have to choose like which limbs to share around to everyone.
Well, I'm thinking that it's one of these things of, you can choose multiple different ways to actually play this. There's been a plane crash. You and a group of people are stranded, and there are certain people who are basically they're on the.
Do we do full Donna party?
We need to kill people, and
Yeah. Well, it reminds me of.
Or then you've got the people who don't want to do that, and you can sort of choose which side you want to go, whether you're going to go out and hunt and gather and.
So there was a game. There's a game set on a spaceship. It's like a dice-based game. It's really difficult, and I can't remember what it's called. But a big part of that was you've got a certain amount of food, and you have to, and that you generate or find each day or whatever. And
it was called Dice Cannibal.
Well, no, and you can choose to obviously like eat someone who's died.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get like sanity stuff happening and whatever. So, cool game, very difficult. But yeah, that sort of mechanic of having to decide, okay, shit, do we eat someone from the kill and eat someone? I suppose. What I like is
that you get to choose your faction at the start. You don't know which way they're going to go because, of course, at the very start, no one's going to be down the
that's the thing. Route. I think the factions are going to shift right over time. It's more about who it's going to sort of crack sooner and say that we should do it. There's the one person that's been like 5 minutes, like fucking let's kill Jimmy. We need food.
I've already eaten my packet of peanuts and I'm still hungry. Just have another packet of peanuts. No,
I need meat. I do those.
I'm low in. My blood's low in iron. I need red meat now.
I do from a sort of strategic mechanic point of view. I do kind of like the idea of having to choose Like, even if it was just like an RPG sort of thing, right? It's like, okay, we're going to have to eat the wizard's arm to keep everyone alive to a sort of minimum HP. But now that wizard can only cast half as many spells or whatever, or they're half as powerful. Like, the trade-off between keeping people alive and their abilities. Now, whether you then get that wizard a bionic arm later or whatever, like, that could be.
Well, I'm just wondering, is your character finds out that, by eating and consuming, you actually get some of the skills. So the other half of the magic goes to you.
So it's about like it's about sharing around. Yeah, it's like how many eggs do you put in one basket?
Oh, it turns out that guy was a serial killer, so you're now half serial killer.
I do like the idea of inheriting unknown traits from consuming.
The grandma had osteoporosis. Well, guess what? Your bones are brittle now.
Your bones are snapped. That sounds like something like. Have you seen the game that's coming out, Mugenics, by the guy who's Bunny of Isaac? That's looking cool, and all the sorts of different effects and things that you can breed into your fighters, essentially.
Yeah, and I mean, he's done some weird shit.
Literal
he's
shit.
done some okay stuff as well. Like,
and by literal shit, I mean there's a lot of poop in his games. Most of his games are good. But
I mean, he also originally did Super Meat Boy, which is like,
or he was like
so weird,
part of the team, But yeah. All right, let's click. Let's clicky
click. We're not getting any big meaty games right now. Pursued.
Okay. Joystick. A lot of games played in the old-fashioned joystick. Like when we were kids, having a joystick, there weren't controllers, so having any sort of analog input in that way,
an actual full on.
You had your like you grab it
flight
with a
stick
full
style
fist flight stick.
Yeah,
that's what a joystick was in our day. And then they had all sorts of cool things coming out with like force feedback, and we had I think it was Microsoft's early joystick that they brought out for MechWarrior,
the
that had
Sidewinder.
the twist. Yes, that you could twist, and it worked in MechWarrior 2 to turn your mech body.
Yeah. And it worked differently too. If you went side to side, it was obviously, that was your strafe now. Like, it wasn't originally, and now you can turn with the twist.
That's it. Yeah.
Shoot
extra
trigger
axis
finger
in there, basically. But I wonder if we can make a game that would make use of a flight stick style sort of thing. What's missing from controllers that really give you that?
Oh, I kind of like the idea of, like, I'm thinking like a Star Wars flight game, because they always worked well with those sort of flight sticks.
Yeah.
But you're pursuing someone across the galaxy, and you're...
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I do like the idea of, a bit of a pursuit. That's often not done in that sort of game.
You don't necessarily have, like, visual pursuit sort of stuff.
No.
You're actually having to track down.
I mean, they're taking hyperspace jumps and stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
And you're needing to figure out where they've gone. Maybe you have to stay in a certain area long enough to read
in this approximate area.
Or something.
I can, talk to these smugglers here, and they've been in contact, and they said, they were thinking about heading over to this system next. And it's like, okay, so you head towards this system and you talk to an outpost, but it's like, there's also, sort of dogfighty sort of stuff, because I think you're like a bounty hunter.
I think there's a bit like of where in the galaxy far, far away a long, long time ago is Carmen Sandiego.
Exactly. Exactly.
Jumping from place to place, solving clues to find out the next place.
Yeah. There's something about that, but having the added, flight and
I think yes, I
navigation
think almost
sort of
a
stuff,
bit like so there was it was a hyperspace trucker or something that came out a little while ago, which I mean got a little boring for my tastes, but it was very much this like, okay, there's these hubs of activity, and there's a shop here that you can buy stuff at, and you can refuel over here, and you're getting missions to go from this place to this place. I mean, and there's been space games like that for a long time, but, all the way back to Elite and that sort of thing. But having that kind of going on around you, maybe not to the full economy level, because that's not the focus of the game, but yes, feeling like you're going between these kind of populated spaceports and planets and whatever, and going down, and maybe you've got some little side missions and things you do in each place as you're trying to find the next destination of your bounty. Yeah.
And the thing is, this can be more than one bounty. Like, you could find the first bounty quite easily, and then there's other ones that, traverse multiple systems.
Like an actual bounty hunter game. Is that what Outlaws is supposed to be? Are you a bounty hunter in Outlaws, or are you just I never played. I think, and I've got it. I haven't actually played it yet. From what I understand, like, you start off on a planet and you're sort of thrust into that world. Yeah. But I like this idea of being an established bounty hunter.
Established bounty hunter. I don't even mind if there are certain segments of the game in which you get out of the ship and you now, have to walk around and use keyboard mouse.
You switch from joystick to keyboard mouse. No, fuck, just give them shitty joystick controls on the
forward. Okay.
Take control.
Talking with firing the trigger with your trigger finger.
Yeah.
Little hat on top, having to go down, and
it's interesting how much the dual thumbstick really brought to consoles, right? Like the ability to do first-person shooters, essentially. Like, you can't do it without having those full 4 axes of movement.
Yeah. So, some of the later flight sticks that you can get have like your throttle control. So that means that you've got your throttle control to go forward.
Of controlling an FPS with a flight stick and throttle. Well, and particularly if it's got the twist, then that's your turn. So your normal axis is your strafe. Your twist is your left and right turn. Oh no, you're saying the throttle. Oh yeah, the throttle could be. Yeah, the throttle's your forward backwards. The pull back and the back and forward on your joystick are your, like, look up and look down.
Yeah.
That would be really confusing. You could do that. If you had the gear, you could definitely just map that and see how it went. That's really funny. But no, yeah, I like this idea of pursuing, like, multiple bounties, just really doing that. I mean, I think that's a game that people have been wanting for a long time. It's a true Star Wars bounty hunter game in a living universe of sorts.
Yeah, one that you're not necessarily going down and doing predefined missions. It's like you go to an outpost and it's like they've got a bounty for this person. So it's like, okay, great.
Yeah, so maybe you work out
like the bounties that you're picking up, because this is your livelihood. You've got a certain amount that you're paying. Kind of like your what's it called? Those crazy games that came out that you're going out and we played
like a extraction shooter sort of thing.
Yeah, it was the scary extraction that you know. I can't remember the name of it.
No, I don't remember either. No, I like that though. And so, I mean, I said earlier, maybe less like the sort of elite style Living Galaxy, but I think, yeah, if you're doing this as just actually true bounty hunter thing, I think you do have that, and it is traveling between these places. You've got reputations with different factions so they'll give you different missions, or they'll call you for missions. And then, yeah, I think,
and you can fail them, and that affects your
totally.
faction.
I mean,
because another bounty hunter could have gone and captured them,
or they just escape and you lose them without an opportunity. And then, in a very non-patent breaking way, anyone who you
know
lose,
exactly where you're going.
Anyone you lose could become some sort of, I don't know, anti-friend. And come back.
What's the opposite of friend? Antagonist.
Antagonist. We could call it the antagonist system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they can go up in antagonist levels.
That's it. So if they get away from you on a mission, you might get a mission later to hunt them down, and now they're stronger, and They've got their own little.
You may see them. You turn up at this place and you're walking around and you're just asking a few questions, and then you see them from across the spaceport.
Oh fuck! Actually, I love that idea of you're on a completely different mission, and yes, you just recognize from across the room one of your previous bounties that got away, and of course, in game you'd make it clear that you could, you're not actually relying on the player to remember them necessarily.
It's like that game. Oh, there was like a Lord of the Rings sort of game, Shadow of something. You could do something like that when you see them and they see you, and it's like it does a camera move.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really cool with this, obviously
we'll bring this
totally
into our
different
antagonist system.
Yeah.
That would be rad though. That would be really sweet. And obviously, it would be a lot of work, but I'd love the idea then of some battles end up in, space dogfighting. Some battles end up in on planet or on space station.
I mean, depending on the bounty,
shooter sort of thing.
It may say they just need proof of death, but some may say you need to bring them in alive. So you got to disable their ship.
That's cool too.
Board and then capture.
Yep. Yep.
God.
I mean, we're deep down the path here of every gamer bro saying they should make this amazing game. But I mean, that would be fucking cool. Like, it feels doable from a big studio. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a ton of work, but there's some really cool systems you could put in place there. And then, setting it in a world that everyone's familiar with.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I just love to see like an actual bounty hunter game done, where that's your livelihood. So therefore, if you're really shit at it, there's an end date where you are in too much debt and you lose your house and all this sort of stuff. So the whole idea is that,
actually, I like the idea then that it's not just, hey, if you reach minus 100,000 credits, you die. It's like, the more desperate you are, the more dangerous and unethical jobs you will take. I mean, you're a bounty hunter; it's relatively unethical, but like now you're freaking, kidnapping innocent children or something for someone because they, want to hold them for ransom or whatever.
Your reputation's so bad that all you've got to choose is
and there's certain jobs that pay better because they know not many people are going to want to do them. Because they're sort of so immoral or they're so dangerous. And so, like you could still end up in an end. It's still a way that you'll end up in an end game if you're really bad because you'll just go on a super dangerous mission and fucking die. It's more that natural consequence thing. It really comes from how well you're playing and that sort of thing. And then, you could bring in all the different equipment and stuff that they have. Like there's a whole layer there of, all right, before I go on this mission, I'm going to stock up on this. I'm going to need a better weapon. I'm going to need.
And if you don't want to do that, then there's a way to auto stock up for your
you'd put that stuff in. Yeah. Spend X amount.
Yeah. You got to pay for fuel and rations and all this sort of stuff for your ship. It's only you on there, but you can. Unless you do a co-op.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Oh, that'd be cool. That gives me sort of a... Was there a... I know in Helldivers 2, that was cool where you just sort of show up on someone else's ship. But I like that idea of... you're just in this ship space together then, of your own ship.
Yeah.
And then going off.
One person flies, one person is in the
gunner.
The gunner. You got to work together. Then,
I mean that gives me a bit of a Sea of Thieves vibe then, but that would be cool. That Sea of Thieves vibe is great.
Maybe you literally just set it in one solar system. So it's
I mean, I think you'd probably need to want to limit it, but because then you can go into a bit more detail on the planets and the spaceports and that sort of thing.
I mean, No Man's Sky has been able to do a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in No Man's Sky for sure. I mean, I never went.
All they need to do next is a bounty hunter idea and put like an antagonist system in, and then I'll be happy. What do you reckon? We go one more quick one?
Oh yeah, we got that time already. All right.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
You said sweetheart?
Mm-hmm.
My first word that I got was darling.
What the hell? That's hilarious.
But then I changed it over and got a new word, and that was geology.
Oh, geology. Okay. This is two planets falling in love.
Ooh, yes.
So I just had the image of them going in for their first kiss, and all the people on each planet just going, "Oh my god, my god!" Just crashing into two planets, smash into each other.
I mean, I don't think we did anything else. That is such a great visual thing.
That's it. We're not even coming up with the rest of it. It's just whatever. That's the end of the game.
Two planets have fallen in love, and halfway through, they go to kiss, and everyone who lives
just
on it
cuts to planet level to ground level on the planet.
I like the idea of they start going into kiss, and then you see that whole thing of, rockets firing up and trains going through tunnels, and then everyone's screaming and going, "Oh my god, the planet's
it's like
getting
part
too
of the
close."
montage.
It's like, oh shit, this was actually them firing off rockets to
trying to get away from the impact point.
It's not a sex thing. Okay, that's
really
all
hilarious.
We have time for tonight.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm. If you'd like to find our previous episodes online, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. Check them out there, or bitstormcast.com.
And if you like the song that we play at the start and end of each episode, that song is called Mount Defiance, off of the album Containment Failure by the band Kurodust.
That's right.
You can find that at kurodust.bandcamp.com.
Yeah.
For free.
So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott. And come with me, dead or alive. Pew, pew, pew.